A boozem up about waifus. That's how VA-11 Hall-A, aka Valhalla, describes itself on its Steam store page. Before you throw your credit card against the screen, however, due to your inner weeboo, you should know that the game comes out today on Steam for $14.99. But before I begin this 5-minute review, this key was obtained from the publisher for review purposes. That won't change my opinion of the game in the end, but you should know that because of FTC guidelines, as well as the whole morals thing, you know? So, what is Valhalla actually? It's got tags as simulator, anime, and adventure. Well, let me be direct. It's an interactive visual novel with gameplay mechanics. And like any visual novel, the game lives on its story and its characters. And you would hope that a game with a unique premise of Cyberpunk Bartender would bring a variety of interesting characters and concepts to the table. And it does. Based on my tone, you thought I was going to say otherwise, didn't you? Each character that you meet has a story to tell, and each of them has a unique pull that makes you want to hear more from them. From an android sex worker who's way too friendly but has a heart of gold, to a hacker who's dealing with a family crisis and the pressures of finding the one. You want to hear more about their troubles and find out what makes them tick. The game does a great job of putting you in the shoes of the bartender Jill, who's almost acting like a therapist, and yet understanding that she's got some issues of her own. The stories get deeply personal. It's clear that this plot was written from the heart and was based on real-life events, and it shows with some strong emotional moments, along with some clever use of symbolism and imagery. In the 7.5 hours it took me to go through the first run of the story, the game was able to juggle the different plot threads rather well, and keep me interested in most of them. It's also a game that isn't afraid to hit some tough topics along the way. From the model of clickbait for journalism, to parodying the concept of social justice warriors, it's a game that's not afraid to talk about things, but it isn't too judgmental for it either. It's there to ask questions, and does its best to always present both sides of things along the way. It's a great game to stimulate internal discussions, and frankly, handles the topics well with a surgeon-like precision at times. The aesthetic was inspired by old Japanese adventure games, and it hits the style rather well. Granted, you'll be in the bar for the majority of the game, with a few exceptions here and there, and the emphasis is put on the character artwork for sure. The character design and artwork is nice, and there's small animation elements which work great, having characters wink or blush to show expressions. It's complemented by a futuristic soundtrack that you choose via the jukebox, and it has some really good tracks in it, making the purchase of the album almost a foregone conclusion for those who love its style. Gameplay-wise, what you do is simple. Your patrons will give you a drink order. Some patrons will be direct with you, asking for a piano man or a suplex. Others won't know exactly what they want, asking for something bubbly or give you a generic description of what they're looking for. Use the menu, put the ingredients in, mix them up, and you're back to the story. And that's pretty much it in terms of gameplay. But that's the thing, you don't have to make them the drink that they want. Maybe somebody will ask you for a Bleeding Jane, but maybe they actually want something else and just won't tell you. Maybe they wanted it big, maybe you want to get them more drunk, so they will provide you with more secrets when they're hammered. You need to key in on the clues that they are giving you, and this is where the replayability and the branching paths in the story come in. Your choice of drinks is the major factor in driving the branching paths of the game, and it's done rather well. It makes you want to go back and play through for all the different endings. Its plot from the start to the end is woven together so well that it left me speechless at some points. This game has a major polish to it, and when I say that great games are seen through their small details, Valhalla is a prime example of that. Look, if you're looking for pure gameplay, Valhalla isn't gonna do it for you. But not only did Valhalla keep me interested from the get-go with some fun and interesting subjects, it was able to keep my attention thanks to some emotionally driven narratives and some strong yet relatable writing. The best way I can summarize it is this: if you'd like a choose-your-own adventure book that's a personal story and want to take the time to listen to the end of all possible endings, then Valhalla is right for you. Thanks for watching. Like the video, share it with a friend, and subscribe if you want more content like this. In the description below, you'll find the Steam review accompanying this vid, along with social media that you can follow me on, Twitter, Google+, and Facebook groups. And if you want to support the channel, click that Patreon on the left of the screen. And remember, keep on gaming.